our continuing coverage here on MSNBC of a decisive night in Pennsylvania for Hillary Clinton. I'm David Gregory with my Race for the White House panel. We join you each night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC, and we're here late night with our post-game edition here tonight. I'm going to go around the panel here as we talk about our headlines for this night, still unfolding. Pat Buchanan, the reality is we came into this night saying that she had to meet a spread. She'd have to win by double digits if this was going to be counted as a victory. It's not done yet, but she's got a 10-point margin over Barack Obama in Pennsylvania. It's significant.
Oh, it's more than significant. She clobbered him. She clobbered him. He lost this race worse than Michael Dukakis lost the presidency, for heaven's sakes. More than 10 points. He had the media. He had the money. He's got the huge crowd. The question is, has Obama peaked as a candidate? We've all talked about the arithmetic. He's still got the delegates. But has he peaked? That was a tired speech he gave tonight. And she came out, she was soft but strong and confident and smiling. She said the tide has turned, and the tide has turned, and the momentum has turned. But once we get past that, we get back to the arithmetic, which has not turned yet. But there's a real possibility, I think, if he doesn't turn this thing around, people are going to say, look, has Barack, that big 12 wins in February, is that over? I mean, is this guy past it? Has the hitting streak burnt out? And I think that's the question everybody's asking tonight about Barack Obama.
Rachel, how do you see it?
I think tonight, well, the 10-point margin is pretty much, that was the common wisdom, that's what she was going to win by. And so I don't know that it looks like getting clobbered.
I don't know that was the common wisdom. I certainly went down from there throughout the week that she was going to be a lot tighter for her, that she wasn't going to be able to hit to double digits.
Pat's prediction last night was 6 to 12. So I'm going to call 10 common wisdom as long as I'm sitting next to Pat.
You know, Pat's right on the money.
You're always right on the money, especially when you give a nice wide range like that. If you know something real big at the money, it's going to land on it.
We were spending a lot of tonight talking about the idea that if she comes in less than 10 points, that this is not going to be a significant victory. It's not really changing the dynamic. She was able, at least at this stage, about 85% of the precincts in, to hit that number.
Yes, that's right. And my take on this has always been, you know, if she won by one vote, she'd be staying in. I think the real question here and the important number out of tonight will not necessarily be the margin of victory. I think the important number tonight is the fundraising spike she gets out of this. How can Hillary Clinton convert this victory tonight to money? Because that is absolutely what she needs. And if you are working on the Hillary Clinton campaign and you're going to Democratic donors, people who have not yet given to Hillary Clinton, or certainly who have not yet maxed out, what's your pitch? Is your pitch about Barack Obama's weaknesses, or is your pitch about something about Hillary Clinton? Is it about her strengths? Is it about some proposal that she's made? Is it about something she has to offer?
Rachel, what good's his money been? What good has his money been?
His money
He's been spending him 4 to 1.
But you know, it's interesting, Pat.
I'd rather be him sitting on $40 million having lost Pennsylvania than her sitting on debt looking at North Carolina coming down the pike.
She's going to get free media. Which she's going to get the energy and the fire and the free media. A lot of press guys tomorrow will be shifting over, following her on the bus, because, hey, we got a hot new race. That's what happens when you win.
Eugene, one of the things that she said tonight effectively was similar to what John McCain said about Mitt Romney. You can't buy this race. He came into Pennsylvania. He outspent her. He was there to compete with her, and in the end, she was able to hold him off.
That was the tone of her remarks. You know, it was a really good night for Hillary Clinton. Yep. The margin really does matter, and 10 points is enough. Is enough for her to claim this as a genuine victory for her. It was a bad night for Barack Obama. Right. It is true that tomorrow, in the cold light of day, he will still be ahead in delegates. He will still have all this money. And if you look ahead 2 weeks, unless his candidacy completely collapses in the next 2 weeks, he's going to win big in North Carolina. So that will answer your question about will the strength end.
Indiana. Who do you bet on in Indiana?
Well, now
I would bet on her as of right now.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think momentum's going to mean something here.
Indiana is a toss-up. He is from the next door state. Right. But she won the other next door state, Ohio, pretty big. So it's going to be the battle. But you know what this means? The bottom line is that nobody is going to coast beautifully to this nomination. Right. Nobody is going to win this beautifully. It's going to be one ugly.
Let's talk about the numbers. I want to talk about how we go forward. Indiana, North Carolina. The panel, we have a lot to chew on here as we look at this. Pat, one of the things that you're going to hear Obama make as an argument is The way for Hillary Clinton to win, the way for her to get back in the popular vote total, is for her to make a desperate argument to try to tear me down as a candidate. The New York Times editorializing in the morning that basically this was, if not a dirty campaign, it was a vacuous campaign because it got nasty toward the end.
I think the New York Times is preposterous. I mean, what she is saying is we're in grave situations. It's dire. We need strong leadership. Right. I represent it. Look at all the crises America went through.
And there's a question mark about Obama. There's a question about Obama.
That's comparative ads. I mean, she said, I'm the great leader, and he's not. What in heaven's name is wrong with that?
Says the great Republican analyst. Democrats don't usually run ads like that. That's why it's an issue. Because Democrats don't run on the be afraid, think of me when you think of death thing. That's a Republican trope. Democrats have done with a freedom from fear thing for a long time now, and I think Democrats are looking for that kind of leadership from a Democratic candidate.
They're not looking in Pennsylvania, are they?
Well, in Pennsylvania, he went from 16 points to 10 points in 6 weeks.
But look, at the end, the thing was widening again. I mean, look, to me, this is perfectly legitimate politics by her. I don't see what the problem at all is with that ad. And they're whining. Obama's whining, and the New York Times is chronically whining. It's the whine of a loser.
How is Obama whining?
Well, they're all. Look, did you hear what he said? What all these things they did, they brought in. They're not talking about hope and all this.
Let's talk about the Obama that showed up tonight, which was still making a similar argument, which is we want a kind of politics on our terms. Right. We don't want to return to the kind of politics that Hillary Clinton is arguing, the kind that she's playing.
Right. Well, look. First of all, that has been very successful for him. The idea of new politics, the idea of him as a different kind of political leader who doesn't play the traditional games has worked very well for him. Getting away from that, urged by people like Pat Buchanan to hit back, hasn't worked as well for him. So I think that's in a sense getting back to what brung him.
But look, no, I agree with you. But this sense is it has worked. February was phenomenal, 12 straight victories. What I'm saying is, it ain't working now. Right. She's got it down. She's got a different game plan, and hers is working now. I'm not saying the best thing for him is to do the same thing. He may damage the product, but I'm saying he's got a real problem because that was a tired speech tonight, Gene. That was not the guy that we used to sit here in awe of when he gave these speeches. It was a tired, weary speech.
It actually wasn't that bad a speech. The thing was, we have heard that speech. That was the problem. If you actually listened to it and you tuned in, it was a beautiful speech in many ways. But we have heard it. We've heard those tropes from him.
We've heard it.
So we need
Everybody
to hear
has heard it.
Right.
Let me interject here. Around the horn here, our race for the White House panel on what we look for now in our remaining moments here the next couple of weeks before Indiana and North Carolina. Start with you, Pat.
I think Barack Obama should shore up North Carolina and really make a battle of it in Indiana. And we were listening to Howard. I would frankly take the advice of Daschle. I don't know that I would start playing get down and get rough with Hillary Rodham Clinton and try it, because I don't know that he's any good at that kind of game. But I think Hillary Clinton's game, what we saw succeeding in the last week for her in Pennsylvania.
She can only bring him down if he does that.
Well, she thinks she's got a winning hand, and that's what she's going to do. And I might try to stay above the battle.
All right, Rachel, what do you see?
At this point, I think it's process. It's not so much the substance of the campaigns anymore, I don't think. You might remember about a year and a half ago, a guy named Atrios coined a term called the Friedman Unit, which was making fun of New York Times columnist Tom Friedman for constantly predicting that in 6 months we'll know if Iraq is going to be a success. And he kept predicting that over and over and over again. So a 6-month period became known as a Friedman Unit. I feel like the Friedman Unit in this campaign right now is 2 weeks. We keep saying, oh, in 2 weeks it's going to be over. It's going to be clear who the nominee is. You know what? It wasn't true on Super Tuesday. It wasn't true for the Potomac primaries. It wasn't true in Texas and Ohio. It wasn't true tonight. Not going to be true in Indiana and North Carolina. There's no decisive moment. There's no decisive moment coming. The superdelegates will have to be pushed.
All right, about 45 seconds left, Gene.
I'd say North Carolina becomes a must-win for Obama. Indiana is not necessarily a must-win, but the one thing he has to do in the next 2 weeks is get his mojo back.
All right. Thanks to a great panel. Big night for Hillary Clinton, 10-point edge in Pennsylvania. The race goes on to Indiana, on to North Carolina. A lot more campaigning ahead before this Democratic nomination is